Good afternoon, everybody. As I said yesterday, it's candy making time. It's getting close to Christmas, really close to Christmas. So today I'm making peanut butter balls, or some people call them Reese balls, and some people call them buckeyes. I'm in Alabama. We don't call them buckeyes. I know up north they do, but we call it, well, my family, what my mom always called them was peanut butter balls. And what you're going to need a cup. I put like a little bit over a cup of peanut butter. You're going to need 3 cups of powdered sugar. You're going to need some chocolate chip. You can use a sweet, semi-sweet morsels. I had some Hershey's that the kids didn't get into, so I'm going to go ahead and throw those in here as well. So I have some milk chocolate and some semi-sweet chocolate. You're going to need about a tablespoon of the vegetable shortening to go in with the chocolate. When it melts, that kind of gives it that glassy look, but it also kind of thins it to where it will, harden and not be real clumpy. My mom always used to do it with, it seemed like she had like a big old piece of chocolate, and she would use wax. I always kind of thought that was weird, but apparently there's a type of wax. And I'm sure people in the comments will say, hey, that was such and such wax. But anyway, I don't use wax. I use vegetable shortening. You're going to need a teaspoon of vanilla, and I always put just a few drops of almond. I just think the almond extract kind of adds to everything. So the first thing we're going to do, it also takes a stick of softened, unsweetened butter. So I've got that in the microwave. You can put it in the microwave for about 10-20 seconds to kind of soften it. You don't want it melted, you want it softened. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cream together our peanut butter and our butter. So just give me 1 second and we'll get it started. Okay, so I've got my 1 stick of butter and my peanut butter in here, and you're just going to want to mix it and get it nice and creamed together, and then we're going to add in our vanilla. So let me just get this mixed up and I'll be right back. Okay, so once you have that creamed together, you're going to put in about a teaspoon of vanilla, which is pretty much a little bit over a cap. Is what I usually use, just to kind of do a quick measurement on that. And then on the almond, like I said, maybe about 4 or 5 drops. I just like the way it smells. I don't know. I've always added into everything when I'm baking. So we're going to get this all nice and creamy. Make sure there's no clumps or lumps from the butter. And then we'll start adding in our powdered sugar. Okay, so once it gets to this stage where it's real light and fluffy looking, then we're going to start adding in our powdered sugar. Now you can it depends on what you like, how thick you like it. But I would say you're going to need at least 2.5 cups. I'm going to start with the two cups, and we're going to keep mixing until it comes to the right consistency. Once I get this all mixed up, I will come back. Okay, once you get it all mixed up real good, you want to make sure that when you touch it, it doesn't stick to your hands, or just maybe sticks just a little bit. And it's going to seem really dry, but if you press on it, you can see it's more like a cookie dough, okay? So you can pinch some off. You can get a spoon. You can do whichever way you want. Make them as big as you want. It's just up to you. I like to make them about this size. So, maybe a teaspoon size. So just take a parchment paper lined cookie sheet, and you're going to just get these rolled out. And I mean, I never make them all exactly the same size. I mean, maybe if you use like a melon scooper or something, you could get them all exactly the same size. I just try to make them, all about that size. And I'm going to get them all lined up. Once I get them all lined up, I'll be right back. Okay, so once you get them rolled out, you're going to put them on the cookie sheet. I got 36 doing it this size, depending on how many people, you're going to have over, or how many you think you're going to go through. I could probably do 2 pans of these, but I'm just going to start with 1 pan right now. Like the candy I made yesterday, my gumdrop chewies. My mom, everybody loved them. I am already down to like half of what I made, so I'm going to have to make some more of those before Christmas. But, hey, that's a good thing. So anyway, we're going to put these in the freezer. They need to go in for at least 30 minutes until they're nice and frozen, or pretty hard, because once we melt the chocolate, then, we're going to be dipping it in that warm chocolate, and we want to make sure that it stays firm and it keeps its shape. So I'm going to get this put in the freezer. I'll come back and we'll melt the chocolates. Okay, I got them out of the freezer. I left them in there about 45 minutes, and they're nice and hard now. So I'm going to get the chocolate ready. So this is semi-sweet chocolate chips, and I put some Hershey's Kisses and stuff in there because I had some extra. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about this much. I guess that's a tablespoon, not a teaspoon. And we're going to put this in, and we're going to put it for 1 minute, stir it, and then another 30 seconds to see, you know, if it's not completely melted. Okay, so when your chocolate gets the consistency, gets all melted and runny like this, what you're going to do is you're just going to put them in there. You're going to roll them around, kind of tap them a little bit on the side, and just put them on your paper. Roll them around, tap them, and put them on the side, right there. Now, if you're doing buckeyes, from what I've been told, is you would take like a toothpick, and you would just dip it. But you would leave like a little, oh well, you can't see that. You would leave the top exposed, so like a buckeye. So anyway, but that's not how I just usually just do the whole thing. But you can do the toothpick method, or you could do like I do, is I just take them and I kind of roll them around. Now, you do want to be, you know, quick as far as, number one, you don't want the chocolate to get too hard, and you don't want the peanut butter to get all melty when you're trying to dip them. So I'm going to get these all done, and I'm going to get them to cool, and I'll show y'all when it's all finished. Okay, so once you have them all coated in chocolate, you're going to just set these aside and let the chocolate harden. And then once they're hardened, you're good to go. Now, you will probably have chocolate left over, and that's fine. You can either do some chocolate-covered pretzels with that. What I like to do if I have leftovers is I've got some cashews, so I'm going to do cashews. I've done almonds, I've done peanuts, and you just kind of roll them around in the leftover chocolate. Get them all nice and coated. And then you have yourself some chocolate-covered cashews. And you just kind of like just lay them out. You can make them in little clusters, or you can just kind of like spread them out like this. I just like to do that because it's just, you know, I don't like to waste the chocolate. I'm going to be making chocolate-covered and vanilla pretzels. But for right now, I'm just going to kind of just use this for these cashews so I don't waste the remaining chocolate. Okay, so it took about 30 minutes for the chocolate to harden, as you can see. So I'm going to take me a little bite and see how they turned out. That is so good. Now, I will say, using the semi-sweet chocolate, it's not as sweet as a Reese's. So you're going to get a little bit more, almost bitterness, but it's still good. It still reminds me of how my mom used to make them. But if you want them a little bit sweeter, instead of getting the semi-sweet chocolate, get the milk chocolate. You can also use the blocks of chocolate. I think it's called almond bark. I use the almond bark for my pretzels, so you can use that as well. And I also know that to make this more Reese's, like an actual Reese's, I've heard that you can grind up graham cracker and put it in there with it, and then that kind of gives you that texture, the same texture. But this is delicious. This is delicious, y'all. So if y'all have any questions, let me know. If not, enjoy, y'all.